We're back to Nothing Fancy.
I'm your co-host, Joanna.
And I'm your co-host, Jaden. Welcome to this space. We sound
This
so...
safe
This
space.
space.
Let's get one.
Let's get a gong. Put it on my
Gong,
wall.
Okay.
Well, but I don't want
I
like
thought
a
I was
little...
gonna mispronounce
I don't
it.
want a small one, though. I want like one of those big ones that are always in the movies where...
Boom.
Everybody in the house is going to be like, if y'all could not...
Oh my god, people will hate us.
They would literally hate us.
Really?
We'd actually have to like cut this off. It would just have to be on the camera, and that's it.
Only video listeners.
Only video listeners. Y'all get a special treat.
Ooh.
I can't even tell if I'm in frame. I don't think I am, so I'm gonna scoot up a little.
I see you like little bit.
I mean, it doesn't help that the strap is covering the camera, so that's fine. Whatever.
Someone panicked.
I panicked. Sure did. Well, for this week's news of the week. Okay, Joanna.
I wasn't ready. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? This week's news of the week. For this week's news of the week, I have a lovely little surprise for y'all. There's no surprise, actually. So, Ariana Grande is returning to us. A new era is beginning. I'm super excited. The audio, I of course saved it to my phone immediately the second she uploaded it, because I was like, what if she tries to delete it and then I'm screwed and I can't hear it? But this is it. Oh, wow. Even though it's small, and so I kept doing that last night, but literally for I think a good 5 minutes straight, I probably listened to that like 100 times because I just like kept yeah. And then I would like start over. I was like, I was late. Do it again. Like,
do it again to yourself.
Do it again. You were off pitch. Do it again. You can pitch it. You were on a sharp. You were flat. I was giving myself a hard time.
Not talking to anyone else.
Literally not talking to anybody. Just myself. And the other news is I just recently re-downloaded Spotify to my computer. Because the one I think I had before might have been like a scammy little like virusy one, because it was not working. Like every time I went to go open it would not open. And then I went to Spotify's website and they were like, yeah, download it. And I was like, did I download it from here last time, or did I just type in like Spotify download and I just like clicked the first link that popped up? I don't know. Let's hope that I didn't do that, because otherwise my laptop is screwed. It already is very much
it's
screwed.
on its last leg.
It literally like... So now my laptop does this thing where it likes to not... It loads a page and then I start to scroll, and when I start to scroll, a shit ton of letters just disappear. So like it's like not full words. So it literally looks like, I wish I could show you, but like it literally just looks like gibberish, and like it'll be like a word and it'll only have like 3 or 4 letters in it, but then like if it's in a paragraph and like I double click on the paragraph and like it highlights it, all the words are there, but then when I click away, everything disappears. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know, because if I have to go to write an essay and all the words are disappearing, I'll be like, hi, I'm just gonna highlight it for you, and I'll just take a picture of it and send it over to you just so you can see that everything is there. Maybe it doesn't show up on there and like that. Hopefully it doesn't. But
it's just yours.
It's
but
just,
you can't see to write it.
It's so upsetting. Well, for this week's episode, we're gonna be talking about 2 different things. We said let's combine any 2 entree. No, this is not Chili's, Jaden. So for the first half of this episode, we're going to talk about mental health / the fact that it's Suicide Awareness Month, which is obviously very, very important here in, I mean, literally everywhere, but just especially at this day and age, at this current time, as we are literally in a pandemic. A lot of people are definitely going through it
like Jaden is.
I am. A lot of people are going through it, and they are, some people are just really struggling, and yeah, so we're going to kind of talk about like that, and then we're also going to talk about some other stuff after that, after a word from our sponsors, but that's not coming till later. So
just kidding. I was photo already.
We were ready. So yeah, okay. So the first thing in mental health in general, no matter if you're feeling suicidal, if you're depressed, anxiety, panic attacks, literally reach out to people. Like, even if you, like, there are some people who you would think are like, that'll surprise you, that you're like, oh, this person won't care if I reach, like if I tell them this, like, they're literally not going to care. Like, they're probably not even going to listen to me. And like, there's other people who, like, who you think will care, who don't care at all. So like, definitely, either way, reach out to people, because some people will surprise you, and also some people are, I mean, most people anyways are always willing to like listen and like help you through that. With like, when I first met Joanna, when I first told Joanna about like any of my mental health stuff, I remember I was low-key kind of scared, because I was like, oh my god, like, what if she judges me? Because like, there's a lot of judgment around like suicide/suicidal ideation, and like depression and anxiety and like panic attacks and stuff like that. And people seem to think that like oh, like, if I tell you this, you're thinking like, oh, like, they're faking that, like, they're only doing it, they're only saying that because they want attention, which,
or you're a downer.
Exactly. And so I was like really scared at first to tell Joanna, and then like after I told her, I remember I was like low-key almost crying. And then she was like, and then I like went even further into like how I was feeling, especially at the time when I had told her, and like the thoughts I was having and things like that. And she was like, literally, like, I will always be here for you. She's like, I don't like when you, like, I don't even like hearing you talk like this. Like, it literally makes me so sad. And like, we literally sat in her car and cried for like a good 30 minutes because like just because of this whole thing. And then like, we also had like a whole like moment, we just had like an uplifting session as well in that night in her car, where I was just like, no, like, you are fucking beautiful, you were my favorite human being on this fucking planet. And we just sat there and cried for a really long time. So definitely always reach out to people, ask for help, just like whenever you have the chance. And if you ever are like, oh, I don't have time, make time. Like, you, like, it's mental health, you can make time to reach out to people and say, hey, like, do you need anything? And like, that also goes the same way for people who know that their friends or family are struggling with mental health, any sort of mental illness, like, reaching out to the people who struggle with it and being like, hey, like, are you doing okay? Like, do you need anything? Like, hey, do you want to hang out this day if you have a chance, or like whatever, blah, blah, blah. We can like try to catch up or whatever. So asking for help, and also reaching out to help whenever you have the chance to do that. And also take care of yourself. I mean, like,
yes,
literally just like take care of yourself. I don't know any other way to say that. Take care of yourself, treat yourself, like, literally, like, and those may sound very similar and almost probably the same. I promise you they are completely different. Treating yourself, I would say treating yourself is more like, draw yourself a bubble bath, like,
right,
like, buy yourself little things, little gifts and stuff. You're like, oh my god, like, I went this whole week without like I don't, like, I know this sounds so like ridiculous and so trivial, but like, it's literally something that has actually helped me, where like, I'd be like, oh my god, like, not being like, oh, if I can go the whole week without being depressed, then like, I can buy myself something. But like, it was more in the sense of like, if I can go the week and like, even if I end up being depressed, but like, reaching out for help to somebody, or like just somebody to talk to or whatever, talking in it. Exactly. Like, that's a reward to myself, because like, I'm proud of myself for not sitting and sulking and being like,
right,
like, oh, like, I'm depressed, and then like letting it get even
not
worse than what exactly.
It.
And treating yourself, or did I just say that's treating yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Taking care of yourself is more, I would say, like, don't overdo it on like things like work or school. Like, don't stress yourself out on schoolwork or on regular work.
If you need a break, take the break.
Take your break. Just don't overdo it, Take care of yourself.
Listening to yourself.
And also like,
body.
listen to your body. And also like, don't like, or set boundaries with school and with work, like how much time you're willing to put in for work and or for like any school work that you're doing at home. Like if you're doing homework,
with other people,
or even with other people. Yeah, like with work, I just told y'all in like our wine time that like I set boundaries at work, and I've never been so happy in my entire life. And also like setting boundaries with school, obviously that's a little bit, it sounds really difficult, but it's really not. Literally just being like, I'm only going to do homework for this long, I'm not going to like stress myself out and like, you know, whatever. That's important. And then like same thing with like people, you know, set boundaries with people, which was also like one of the one of the last few things that I had was like distance yourself from people who are toxic or people who don't want to take the time to listen to you or hear you out. Like
make
literally
you feel bad for your
emotions and your like, because people who do that, like whack.com.net.org.gov/edu, right?
They're obviously not gonna help.
They're not gonna help.
They're worsening how you're feeling.
Exactly. And like they're gonna be like, well, like I don't know. Like I literally remember I remember in high school the first time I had ever told one of my friends, so called in quotation marks, I remember I was like, I'm feeling like really depressed and like I don't really know what to do and I feel like overwhelmed. And I remember this I don't want to say it was stupid, but the what they told me in response, they were just like, honestly, like just like be happy, don't stress yourself out. And I was just like, gee, I wish I would have thought about that.
Gee golly,
right?
You solved all my problems.
But then like looking back now, I mean, like saying simple things like just be happy, don't stress out are not extremely helpful. But when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, in terms of like oh, don't stress yourself out with school, as in like set boundaries, or don't stress yourself out with work, set boundaries, like literally. And even with family, set boundaries. Like me and my sister be setting boundaries with each other and like with our other family members as well all the time, which is so important because, you know, family be getting on your nerves, especially during this COVID pandemic. Girl. So that's equally as important. And so yeah, just distance yourself from people who are obviously not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form, and try to help you get better. And also, last but like not least, I think, go to therapy, get counseling. I feel like there's another word for therapy. Therapist, counseling. I guess you can go to like psychologists and stuff too if you really feel like you need that. Like a psychiatrist. There we go. Goodness gracious, I'm going through it. But like reaching out to those avenues for help is also equally as important as being like, oh, like I need to reach out to my friends and family, but like also like talk to a therapist, talk to somebody who literally and just let me say this. Talk to somebody who you know, like get a therapist who you know is like going to be listening to you without any sort of bias because they don't know you already.
I saw a TikTok of a therapist saying when you go to your therapist, you should ask them if they go to therapy, because if they don't, then they're clearly not going to be as helpful.
As well as making sure you have when you're choosing your therapist, it's okay to like go through so many different therapists. Like I know so many people who literally have gone to therapy and like their first therapist or their first counselor was like not what like they're like they were not helpful. They weren't helpful. They weren't saying the right things.
Right.
And like I remember like one of my friends from high school who was at the time going to therapy, like she was just like, oh yeah, like I literally, like, my first therapist literally was, like, kind of judgmental. Like, I was telling them things about my life, and, like, she was just, like, making these, like, faces, and I was just, like, girl, and, like, that terrified me. But, like, I've been to counseling. I went to counseling when I was in my freshman year, and that was when I was getting bullied a lot, and it helped so much. And, like, granted, I only had to go through one counselor, and it was just her, and, like, she was amazing.
Right.
And wowee, did that help. Like, I had never felt better, and like I learned also like how to communicate better, and like even just like in a little ways, it was so helpful. So yeah, so that was really great. Um, Finally, I will say this: if you are feeling suicidal or depressed or anything, again, aside from reaching out, you can always call like the National Suicide Hotline, which is 1-800-273-8255. Again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Because you are amazing, you're beautiful, you deserve to be happy, and a lot of people feel, I think, weak having to reach out for help. And I want you to know there's no weakness with reaching out for help and or like wanting to talk to people or having depression or anxiety or anything. You're not weak. Like literally, like so many people have so many of these things, conditions and illnesses. You're not alone, and you're not broken, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not like an awful person. I don't know how to describe it. You're an amazing human.
You're not a burden on
You're
me.
not a burden. Thank you. I was like, what is the word I'm looking for? So there's that. And last but not least, this episode is sponsored by Anchor.
This episode is sponsored by Anchor, which, if you don't know what Anchor is a free podcasting platform that helps you get started with all your beautiful podcasting needs. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. Definitely free. 1,000% free. 1,000,000% free. Free 99, except minus the 99 cents. Okay. And there is a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. So it makes it really easy, really simple, and really accessible. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, literally so many platforms, and they do it all for you. And I know that was something that was super important to me and Joanna because it really stressed me out. And when I tried to get on Spotify, I couldn't figure it out. And then the next day, I got an email from Anchor. They're like, we already did it for you. I was like, wow, thank you for taking the stress off of my back. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I feel like I should say that one more time. No minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, download the free Anchor app off of the Apple App Store or go to the Google Play Store or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you, Anchor.
And we're back.
We're back. Okay, so for the rest of the time, we're going to Siri, if you could not
You could just fuck off.
if you could just cooperate. I'm angry. Okay, so for the rest of the time, we're going to be talking about relationships. And what is good versus bad. Joanna will, well, we're both going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to talk about enjoying being single as well and how to enjoy that as well.
We can start with the being single.
Okay, yeah, I think that one will be really quick. Are you good?
I don't know. That came out of nowhere, bro. I'm good, though. Go ahead.
She dying. So for being single, honestly, enjoy being single. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's difficult to enjoy being single, especially like when you see like if your friends are in relationships, like if let's say like shut up, I hate you. Let's say like for example, you have a group of like 5 or 6 friends and like all of them are in relationships except for you, and like I know it's super difficult because then you kind of get in your own head and you're like, am I not good enough to be in a relationship? Am I not attractive enough? Do guys just like not like me? Like what the hell? Like
what the flippity flap,
what
bro?
The flippity flu, you know? Like I have a WAP, like why no, I hate myself for that one. I have a WAP. But like I know it's difficult, but honestly, like you'll attract what you put out.
Right.
I learned this from so many people throughout my life, but also just recently heard it again, and like because I completely forgot about it, and I heard about it from these TikTokers. They're gay TikTokers, love them the most. One of them is Chris something. I think it's like Olsen Chris. And ooh, that's loud. And so one of them is Olsen Chris, and I think the other one might be his boyfriend is Ian Paget, whatever. But Ian is the one who's like really, I love him. Ian's my favorite. And he was just saying, he was like, well, like you what you put out is also what you attract. And so like if you're putting out, you know, a desperate vibe, you're only going to attract other desperate people who may not be what you're wanting them to be, and it may not last as long as you want it. Right. So if you're trying to attract, like, I want a long-term relationship with that, like, manifest that shit, and it will come to you, but you also have to wait because those things take time. Okay. It's not be patient. You can't rush into those things, because if you rush into them, bad things happen. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, they're never good if you rush into it.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I mean, look at the Kardashians. I'm kidding. I'm not. But
Kim and Chris Humphries.
Oh.
Anyways. Oh.
Any marriage.
Ooh. I hate us.
Sorry.
But don't rush. That's important.
Yeah.
Another thing, I mean, with being single is also, like, while you are single, I don't know how to word this. What am I trying to say?
Take your time.
No. Joanna, can you give them some elevator hold music, please, so I can get my... Ding! Oh, I wasn't ready. That was just the elevator getting to the next floor. Okay. Ding! And we've arrived. Hi.
Did you hear that fade out?
Wow. She said, ta-da. Can't relate. What
was that?
My throat just is...
Sorry.
When you're single, don't let your throat do that. Because that's a little weird. No, when you're single, it's also, I think people seem to think like, oh, when I'm single, I can't, you know, like when you're single, but you're ready for a relationship, you can't like go out and like have fun and like have sex and like do these things. Yes, you can do it. Like, you're your own person.
Right.
No one is stopping you.
Fucking hook up with someone.
Hook up with someone. And
no
like,
one is gonna fault you for it.
Exactly.
It's
and
a
like, if a
human
guy
thing.
who likes you has anything to, or a girl or non-binary pal, like, if anybody who likes you sees you hooking up with other people in the time that you're single, but you're obviously wanting a relationship, like, that's on them, because they didn't hit you up. Yeah. They didn't make their move. They could have had you. They could have had you. And also, like, period. You know, period. And also, like, it's being, like, you're single. So, like, do you. And, all, like, you don't. And if that's not for you, also, like, then that's not for you. Don't fucking judge other people for doing that either, because you're a whack human being, and that's probably one of the reasons that you're single, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Judgmental ass motherfucker.
Period.
Poo.
We're not taking that one back.
We're not. We mean everything I say, and everything I say is what I mean, okay? So, period. Because I don't give a fucky, bucky, clucky, ducky, clicky, dicky. So there's that. And I think really that's all I can tell you about being single. I mean, like, I've been single for so long at this point, and for like,
that's so funny. I'm so
no, you're okay. I mean, like, the way I said it was like kind of so long. Oh. But it has been a long time, and I'm okay with it. Actually, at this point,
don't feel ashamed of it.
I'm not. I really just like, do I wish I was in a relationship? Oh, 1,000%. But also being like, like, I'm okay with being single, because that's like more like, I don't have to give more of myself and my time to somebody else, especially time that I don't have right now. Because I know if God were to be like, here's a boyfriend for you right now, I'd be like, bitch, I'm gonna fail my classes.
You're like, no.
I'm like, God, why would you do this to me? You knew I was not ready. He's like, and this will help you with your time management. And I'm like, no, school was helping me with my time management. This is really just throwing a wrench into things. So Like, I know you work in mysterious ways, God. This is not what I thought you meant when you said that. So if you could take it back, let's maybe postpone this 5 months. That'd be nice. Months.
Please.
So yeah, just enjoy being single. Don't rush anything.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Especially if you just got out of one.
Especially if you just got out of a relationship. Demi Lovato. Like.
Ooh. Someone in my life, I will not say their name. Oop.
Oh. Oh. For a second, I thought you were talking about me, and I was like, no, I've been single for a long time. I was like, it can't be me.
A family member.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wait, is it who I think it is? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it could be
sorry,
the
we
same
have
for
to
her,
like
too.
whisper things because there's a camera,
There's a
so like
camera
people
now,
can see.
so.
Yeah, like, which also, quick shameless plug. Go to our YouTube channel, Nothing Fancy Podcast.
Yeah, look
That
it
was
up.
that was so perfect.
was
Getting a
insane.
high five count 1. Let's just do 2 just to make it even.
There we go.
All right. So now for the relationship part of this,
Relationship.
between good and bad. So the first thing is first thing is respect each other, right? Like if you're in a relationship, respect, like if you ain't got respect, that relationship gonna crash and burn in a heartbeat. All right, like she's not gonna last. She's begging for respect and it's not there. Where is she? I don't see her. Donde está?
Donde está?
Donde está respect?
Respect her.
Respect ho. Respect ito. This is who we are. Two
But no, for real.
two Latin people not
don't
speaking
speak
Spanish
Spanish.
correctly. But no, real life, like respect each other. It's
Yeah.
like and it shouldn't just be one person respecting the other more. It should be a mutual respect. It should balance out. And in that respect, like obviously there are going to be some things that you do more for your partner that your partner doesn't do for you, and then other things that your partner does more for you than you do for them. And that's perfectly okay because it's all about respect. It's about balance. You can't expect things to be like, I bought dinner last time, so you need to buy dinner this time. Like, okay, well, like you also said at the beginning of our relationship that you were okay with I clean this thing. Like you also said at the beginning of the relationship you were okay with cleaning these things or with buying the food, and like now that's changing, which leads me to like the next thing, communication. Communicate with each other. Equally as important as respecting. And with communicating, just be honest. Like don't like the worst thing you can do, and this is not even just like in dating relationships / marriage or anything. This is also in like relationships with family and friends. Communication is key. Do not let things bottle up. Why? Like I used to do that all the time in middle school and in high school, and I would like bottle things up. Like literally, there was a point in like my probably sophomore junior year, like I had so much stuff bottled up from like things from middle school, like from how I was treated, from like how my mom would handle things sometimes, which by the way, this is like no shade at my mom. Love her to death. She's an amazing woman. What a queen. But I remember like there was one time in middle school in 6th grade, I had peed my pants. The only reason why this happened, this was not intentional, okay? I had asked my teacher, my math teacher, I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. My school, we had to have our planners signed before we could go to the bathroom. It was stupid. I hated it. Okay. The face you just made is the face I made when I first heard about it. And I was like, that's dumb, but whatever. Go off, sis. And,
Go off, sis.
And I remember like being like, I need to use the bathroom. He was like, no. And I was like, I'm about to pee my pants. He's like, fine, get your planner out so I can sign it. I was like, okay, fine. As I literally got my planner out of my backpack, flipped to the back of my planner so he can sign it, because there's a specific page for it. He's like, I'm about to give it to him. I pee my pants, and I was like, it was awful. And like everybody in the class started laughing at me except for this one kid. And I'm not going to say his name because he's an a-hole. I don't know if he's an a-hole now, but he was an a-hole back then, so I'm not going to give him the free clout. But for the purpose of this story, we can call him, give me a name.
Jacob.
Jacob Clearwater. No. That is Leah's last name. No, let me stop. But Jacob stood up for me and he was like, "Why are you guys laughing? Like, I know you guys wouldn't be laughing if it was you." Like, blah blah blah. And everyone immediately stopped laughing. Then the next day, here comes Jacob making fun of me. Same person who just stood up for me starts making fun of me, and it's like what, making jokes, and he's like, "What walks, talks, and leaks, Jaden?" And I was like, wow, this fucking sucks. That was like one of the worst years of my life. And it was that, and then people like made like a little song, and they're like, "It's Nappy Boy," because there was like this guy who had like really nappy hair. He was fine as hell though. I was like, boy, I don't care to show hair. Ooh. This was also before I was fully aware. This was before I was fully aware that I was gay, by the way. Anyways, but they were like, "It's Nappy Boy and Pee Pee Boy." And that's what, like, it was literally it's okay, you can laugh. I laugh about it all the time now. Okay. But at the time, in 6th grade, it was the worst thing. And I told my mom, and I was like, "I'm getting bullied at school." And she was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, just like, "You need to talk to," she was just like, "You need to, like, talk to a teacher or something." I was like, "I did." And I was like, "That's why I'm talking to you." Because I was hoping that she would go up to school and, like, talk to them and be like, "Why the f*** is my son getting bullied after he fucking reached out to y'all?"
Right.
And I was, like, really upset about it. All that to say, I ended up hanging on to that for years, up until like my sophomore and or maybe junior year of high school. And like my mom had noticed that like I was just like really attitudinal and like not being a good human being at that point in time. And she's like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, blah, blah, blah. She didn't say it like that. She's like, "But like, what's going on with you?" Like, blah, blah, blah. And like, I like just like let all this stuff out, like everything that had bothered me with her, with my sister, like literally every little thing.
You popped off.
Popped off. Bottled it up. And she was like, "You cannot bottle these things up." Right. And at that point in my life, that's when I learned. So again, all that to say, don't bottle things up in any relationships. Yes. It's so awful. Yeah. And toxic.
It's not gonna help either of you.
It doesn't help anyone.
If you don't,
like, how are they supposed to know? They're not
gonna fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. How are they supposed to know that you did something wrong, or that like, you know, like, right. or that, you know, they're doing something wrong if you're not gonna say anything? Like, right. It doesn't work. The communication is key. Don't bottle your shit up. All right. We all got issues. We all get irritated. Right. Wow. And I think this is we already talked about this, but like, or off air. But this is like a good transition to like the bad stuff. But oops. Plan cute dates, and also go after your person, your significant other, your partner, as if you were still trying to win them and like get them to be with you. That is so important. Like, don't let that spark die, because like when those sparks die, like when the little like cute things like that, like, I'm not sure if y'all have ever seen that video of this white boy who's like at his girlfriend's car window, like he's about to go to the store, and he's like, "Hey yo ma, like let me holla at you," and she's like, "Oh, like I got a boyfriend." He's like, "Nah, don't worry about him, screw him." He's like, "You need to be with me." Like, playing around and stuff like that is so important in relationships.
If you can't joke with the person that you're with, I don't think
it's not gonna work.
You can't be so sensitive, and if something they do say bothers you, I don't think that's the person you want to be with.
Like, if like and obviously have those conversations and be like, "Hey, like what you said," especially like if what they said is actually really joke. Exactly. Like, if what they said is like very offensive to you, like, be like, "Hey, I didn't really like that joke. Like, maybe just like don't make it around me anymore."
If they're like, "Okay, won't do it again."
Cool.
But if they're like, "Well, it was just a joke,"
then like
it ain't that deep.
The door. Get the they're gone.
They're not gonna change their mindset.
Exactly.
So don't try.
Right. And also, like, to that point, don't date people / go after people who do not align. Don't just date someone just because they're attractive. All right. Don't just date someone because, you know, they're nice. Everybody has like their little things.
Because they're giving you the time of day.
Exactly.
That's also going with the single thing. Don't just because you think someone is treating you well.
Right.
That's just so they can get you, rope you in, so you can't go nowhere.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Like, there's people like I've been attracted to. I'm like, "Oh my god, this person's so cute." But then like I talk a lot. And, like, the person, like, people that I've had crushes on have been, like, super quiet, or, like, like really douchey or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like for the people who have been quiet, like, and there's been so many of them, I literally have like that.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. Literally, like, I have learned, I'm like, I cannot date somebody who is like super quiet, because like then I feel like I'm gonna have to make adjustments to my own self.
You're like
I know how to
holding
carry
this
a
whole
conversation.
on my
Exactly.
bag.
Exactly. I'm like, ugh, I gotta go to the hospital. Why? Because I'm carrying this conversation on my back.
This
Jesus.
relationship.
Oh my God, I need to go to a chiropractor. Snap, snap. Click, clack, scoop.
We're sorry.
Sorry for who we are as people.
Period.
But yeah, I mean, like, and now obviously, like, and I also know when to stop talking, just so we're all clear. I just talk a lot. I have a lot of things to say.
Mm-hmm.
My mind goes a million miles a minute, which is why I talk so much, because I'm like, oh my God, like, I need to say this. I need to say this before I forget, because as Joanna can attest, I forget things, like, in 2 seconds. I could literally be talking. There have been so many times we'll be, like, talking about things. I'll be telling a story, and, like, I'll be talking about it, and I'll forget, like, what the story is that I'm telling, and I'm like, what the was I just talking about? And then she'll be like, you were just saying this. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it, because I really forgot. So yeah, so there's that. So, like, don't date people who are, like, literally not even what you're looking for. It's okay to date, like, you know, people say opposites attract, and I think that really just means in terms of, like, really more so in personality types, I feel like, in some aspects.
In some ways.
In some ways. Not always.
Yeah.
Definitely marry people who, like, just marry and date and, you know, go after people that you like and who like you back. And it's genuine. But also, like, you know, like, there's people who literally, like, are opposites, polar opposites. Like, Damien and you are literally, like, what, like, I know I'm partially the reason why y'all are together, but also
Loves to get that
I
out there.
I love to bring it up every chance I get. But also it's so funny to me because like, you guys are, like, low-key opposites. Like, you're so quiet, and he's also pretty quiet as well, but, like, he also knows how to, like, he talks a lot too. And his personality is so much different than yours. It's just, like, so crazy, but you guys work out so great. So I really did some good work there as a matchmaker.
But not for himself.
But not
I'm
for
just
myself.
kidding.
You know, I struggle with finding men, because men are low-key trash. They irritate the fuck out of me, which is really unfortunate because I'm gay. So I really don't have any other options.
True. A robot. I'm just kidding.
Sex doll.
Cute.
I can dress it
Wouldn't
up.
that be difficult?
Yeah, I feel like that relationship, it would be like a really one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking to a doll.
Because you would be.
Exactly.
But a robot would talk back.
But, like, that's mechanical things. I don't want a mechanic
they're making,
penis
like,
inside. Never mind.
They're making, like, you know.
Like real life, like real acting ones.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even tell that they're robots.
Oh, my God.
Anyways.
I wanted to go back to respect really quick.
Yeah.
About, like, yes, they need to respect you, but I also want to say, if your friends, if they're mean to your friends or your family, or they don't like them, I don't think it's a good idea. Okay?
High five.
I just want to
High
say.
five count of 3.
Because, yeah, okay. If they don't like them just because, like, again, I've been watching, I watch a lot of reality TV.
Me too.
You know, and
Another high five for that. We're the same person.
And, you know, 90 Day Fiancé, sometimes people don't like the person just because they're from another country. That, I'm not condoning that. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if they don't like, this is going to sound so stupid. I know it's going to sound stupid.
Just say it.
But, like,
Just
if
do
they
it.
don't like their vibe or, like, the way they present themselves, or they're not, if they get to know them and they don't like them because they don't seem like a good person, I think you should listen to the people around you. Because, again, you might lose those people because you're so set on staying, like, with this person.
You also, like, you shouldn't, to that point, in terms of, like, just something that you said, like, if they don't like, you know, the way they present themselves or things like that, that also can go with things like like how they actually physically look and like how they are dressing. If you like, if you were trying to physically change somebody to, you know, fit your standard of what they should look like, that's obviously not the person for you.
No.
And obviously you also need to do some work on yourself, because like that is such a
very
evil,
narcissistic.
toxic, narcissistic thing to bring to the table.
Yeah.
But also to your point of like friends and family, like, literally, I'm like, if you or my sister, really, that's all I care about is you or my sister. If y'all were like, I don't like your boyfriend, like there's something about him, I just like, I'm getting this really weird vibe from him, I don't like him, I'd be like, okay, understandable, and I would not talk to him anymore. And I'd be like, unfortunately, my friends and my family, they just don't really like you, so we can't date. Now, if you'd like to occasionally hook up,
if you
I'm
like
okay
to
with
see me during the night.
during the night, we can pretend to be in a relationship at that time. I can call you babe, baby. Not gonna say that one. I don't. Y'all know what it was because I started to say. I said.
Dick.
But
Just kidding.
what?
I said dick.
Dick. His name's gonna be Dick / William.
What?
Isn't William?
I
Isn't?
thought it was Richard.
Is it?
Yeah, which makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Anywho.
It's stupid. Next one is don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't cheat.
Period.
I don't know how many times I have to say don't cheat.
If you're thinking about it, or you even do it, you don't want to be in a relationship with the person
Right.
that you're with. If you're thinking about
if
other
you're
people.
even feeling like the relationship is not as strong as it was, or you're like, I don't even know how to describe this. If you are going to like have the thought, or you're feeling like the connection is not there,
then you
literally like
tell them.
you need to talk to them
Yeah.
and be, like, end things, because
Yeah.
nothing is worse than finding out that you have been cheated on,
Right.
and like other people, we'll get to that in a second, but like other people know, and then like you find out. And to that point, if you are somebody who like has witnessed your friend, like, you know, you saw your friend's boyfriend or your friend's girlfriend, significant other in general, cheating on your friend, it is your responsibility to tell your friend. There's no like, oh, I didn't know if I should say something or not. Yes, you should say something.
Like, yes, and I have.
Right. Same. High five. Look at us. We're at 5.
I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I was like, look, I'm sorry. I didn't want, like, it hurt me. It's hurting me to tell you this, but this is the truth.
Right.
And I mean, she said she knew, in a way. Like,
right.
she figured
like
it out.
she had like an idea of what
and
was
so
happening.
They're not together.
Yeah.
Obviously. That's another thing. If you stay with someone who cheated on you and they cheat on you again, it's your own fault at that point, because you knew that they've done it before and they got away with it because you stayed with them.
What's the stupid saying? Once a cheater, always a cheater. Literally.
And you forgave them for it, so they think I can do it again. They're just gonna take me back.
Right. And there's like, I would say the only exception to that is if your partner is abusive and like you're scared to leave the relationship, you feel like you can't leave the relationship, in which case definitely seek help, talk to friends or whatever.
Which is another thing. There are signs for that.
There are definitely
from
signs.
From the beginning, you need to look out for them.
Definitely look out for them. And if you miss the signs, like, do not beat yourself up about it. But like, also, like, when you start to realize that it's abusive, try to get out of there as fast as possible.
Don't be entranced in the idea of being in a relationship with someone. And I think that's a lot of what it is that you don't want to be alone and you don't want to leave the person that you're with. But if they are hurting you and they are not helping you and they are just bringing you down and they are either like putting their hands on you or like talking you down, or like, what's another one?
Putting, like, I mean, emotional, physical,
if
mental
they are taking
abuse.
your money and stuff like that, they're not letting you have money. And if they start doing little things like checking how much you have, checking how much you spend, like, let's see.
Trying to, like, literally control your every move. Those are all things and signs that you should immediately try to get out of the relationship.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And that also just falls in with the last one, too, is just being manipulative.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
There are just little things that you can tell. Like, if you feel off, again, trusting your gut, you can tell when something is off.
Right.
If you don't feel right about, like, let me think. Like, I don't like this. This is just me. I know some people do it and there's not a abusive relationship, but if you have to get permission to do things from your significant other, I do not like that at all.
Right. Do
In
not
way.
shut it down immediately, because like you're your own person. I literally know somebody right now who was like who has explained that exact situation to me, where like she was asking her significant other like, hey, like essentially like having to like ask permission, and he would be like, no, you can't go.
Like, I need to see if it's okay. And be like,
Right.
no.
Nope. Like, I'm my own person. Like, if my girl, I don't care who if I'm hanging out with my boyfriend and my friends are like, you know, me and my boyfriend been hanging out for 2 weeks, and you know, Joanna hits me up. She's like, hey, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. We should go hang out. I'd be like, babe, I know we're watching this show, which neither of us are probably really watching. What?
There was a bird flying, and then I saw your fan, and then I thought it flew in.
You're like,
I was like, bro, there's a bird in your room. I'm
that's
so
fine.
sorry.
We like birds in
Anyways.
this room. But yeah, no, I mean, like, and then if Joanna was just like, oh, like, hey, like, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, like, can we hang out? Granted, we probably wouldn't even be watching the show anyways. We'd probably just be like sitting on our phones or something. Like, I would immediately be like, oh, gotta go. Me and Joanna are gonna go hang out because
Like,
I haven't
I'll be
seen her
right back.
in a hot ass minute. Like, be back in a little bit.
Right.
Like, because there's no need to ask for permission.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and
No, you never need to ask for permission
you
when
never-
you're in a relationship.
like
At all.
At all.
At
Wait,
all.
what did I say?
I think you were gonna like say like, well, if this, I don't know if you're what you were going to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say like if you're joking around, be like, babe, but even then, I'm like that just leads into people thinking that you have to ask for permission.
That's why I think it. Also, this is another thing. If you're in a relationship, you need to make time
What time is it?
for not only
Let's go for like 5 more minutes.
like the person that you are in a relationship, but the other people around you.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of relationships. People get in one and they completely forget about their friends.
Oh yeah.
And then those friends are obviously going to have resentment towards you in your
It's
relationship.
the way, this is
So-
like an eargasm for me right now, because the way I have told so many people about this,
Like-
and hearing it come from somebody else who actually understands that, it's my favorite thing. Okay. I'm okay.
That's why during the week, I have a certain day with you, and I have certain days with Damien.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to make it so I can't see one or the other, because then,
Right.
like I said again, that's going to cause you to have resentment towards not only me, but
Right.
him as well.
I mean,
You know
like,
what I'm
and
saying?
even if say like you're like, oh, we can't hang out this week in person, like if you were like, but we can FaceTime later,
Yes.
like literally like make accommodations
yes.
to like make up for things. And that also goes into like making plans in general. If you're somebody who is a very frequent plan canceller, which I would say in some sense there's nothing wrong with that in terms of like, there's nothing wrong with it in terms of like actual emergencies, but if you're just canceling your emergencies and or even mental health, those are like my 2 things. But if you're just like, I just don't want to hang out with this person, I guess that's fine too. But you're like, I do want to hang out with them again later on and or whatever.
You
make the time
Yeah.
to be like, hey,
reschedule.
I can't reschedule.
It's not that
I
hard.
can't hang out, but like let's reschedule. Anyways, back on topic. I think the other thing that I had to say for like being manipulative that I've noticed that I've been hearing a lot about lately from like different people, and I don't know what it is, but like people who are in relationships and their significant, like they try to break up with their significant other, and their significant other is like, well, if you leave me, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yes.
People,
No.
if you, I'm gonna be really honest with you. If you are with somebody like that, I don't ever want you, don't ever feel any guilt for leaving that relationship. And also, if anything does happen to them, if
It
they
is
do,
not on you
it is
at
not
all.
on you. If they do
At all.
if they do attempt suicide and they do not pass, that's amazing. And if they do pass, like, that's really unfortunate. Either way, it's not your fault. You
Not your
never
fault.
put that blame on yourself.
Never.
Because that is
is
help
their-
that they need to get for
Yes.
themselves.
And it's not, I just want to say, and like this kind of goes to like maybe like the Ariana Grande Mac Miller
Oh,
thing.
hi. It stopped filming.
Oh my god.
So we've just been, part of this episode is just going to be not filmed. It just stopped. Hold on. Sorry about that.
a little technical
Little
difficulties.
technical difficulties.
Difficulty
So
saying
there's
that.
just be like a good 2 minutes of this episode on YouTube.
That is
No
not
filming.
not there.
Zero filming. But what we were saying, for those of y'all who may have missed it on the film, you'll hear the audio anyways, but just like people who are manipulative in the sense that like in relationships, if you try to break up with them, they're like, I'm gonna kill myself if you leave. It's not your fault if anything happens to them at all. That is them. That is issues that they need to work out with themselves. That is therapy and counseling.
That is not fair to you.
Exactly.
It's not. When you're in a relationship with someone, it is not your job to make sure that. Not that this sounds bad, to make sure that they're okay.
Right.
You can you can. I'm not saying like
you're supposed to be there for your partner,
yes,
but you're not supposed to be their therapist or their counselor.
You're not supposed to be the reason that they're okay.
Exactly.
They need to do that on their own.
Exactly.
They can't depend on you to like not use drugs.
Right.
To not
your relationship can't revolve around like, oh, you are what makes me happy. You are what is you're my reason for getting up in the morning. No. That should be something that like they should be happy on their own. They should be their own reason for getting up in the morning. You should be the added extra special
little
piece,
bonus.
the cherry on top for that. And like prime example, so many people came at Ariana Grande years ago when Mac Miller passed away, and everyone was like, well, like, you're supposed to help him, like, blah, blah, blah. Women are not rehabilitation centers. And in general, when you're in a relationship, if your partner has any sort of mental health issues, you are not their rehabilitation center. You are not you should not be the one to have to, like, build them back up and fix them.
You are not their, exactly.
Exactly.
You're not the person who needs to make sure that they're going to recover. Exactly. Okay? That's, if they're not, like, if they're doing drugs and you're like, you need to stop doing drugs. Right. And they don't do that, and that's their decision. Right. You keep doing drugs, I'm not going to stay around. Right. And that also just goes into standards with, like, relationships. If you knew going to the relationship that they were doing drugs, like, literally, I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like, I've been talking to guys and been like, my biggest turnoff and thing that I will not stand for in a relationship is a guy who smokes cigarettes. Right. I don't care if you smoke weed, like, it's marijuana. I really don't give a crap. Okay. Like, smoke your weed. It's fine. But like cigarettes are obviously 10,000 times worse, yes. So if you're smoking weed, you're vaping, you're whatever, I'm like going to be like, so if we were to get, like, I've literally brought it up before. I'm like, if we were to get into a relationship, like, would you stop smoking? They're like, oh, probably not. And I'm like, well, then this relationship is not going to last. And people have been, when I say to me, people have told me, they're like, that's like so shallow, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, I'm not. I'm like, if I'm going to be with you, I'm like, what did Billie Eilish say? I can't afford to love someone who's dying by mistake or something like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, okay.
What's the lyric? I can't afford to love someone. Yeah. And she's like, I can't afford to love someone who isn't dying by mistake. So if you're intentionally, like, smoking cigarettes that are freaking killing you and you know this, what are you doing?
You're doing reckless shit, and you don't like that reckless shit.
Exactly. So,
like,
those are...
It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Stuff it's just... Like so, yeah. This was, like, a really serious episode, but, like, I'm glad we talked about this stuff, though. Because, like, I think a lot of people... there's a lot of things on the internet, like, what to do when you get in a relationship, or, like, how to get into a relationship or whatever. But, like, I don't think... people actually really talk about this stuff, and I think that's important. First of all, quick random question: when did you have your first kiss?
With Damien.
Oh, that's so cute. My first kiss was my freshman year.
Was kind of embarrassed.
We'll do that in a separate podcast. I'll tell you all that story separately because it's a atrocious story. That story is wow. I learned a lot from that story though. But anyways, now we're going to hop into public HR meetings. It's you this week.
Is it actually? I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, I deleted the other podcast, so.
Not on here, not the audio.
Oh yeah, the audio's. It was me last week because I gave you the compliment. So it's your
Yes.
turn.
Okay, my
So
turn.
just so we're all clear, I'm so sorry. Never mind. We're just gonna...
Okay. Jaden,
Yes.
watch the last week's one, and it's actually you 2 times in a row. Like, with
Right.
one person, because we don't keep track.
We don't keep track.
Anywho, and we record some of these
In advance. So
just
they're
in
just
case,
not gonna...
you know.
Whew.
What was I even gonna say?
I have no clue. What were you gonna say?
Well, it's glad to see you here in this meeting.
Wow. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I'm a local, and I was wondering if you guys do local discounts.
No.
No. All right.
Do people actually ask?
Can I speak to a manager?
Not
Have you
the
seen that
Karen
video?
in a place. No.
Oh my god, it's I'll show you that video after.
But I brought you here today
Yeah. What's up?
to let you know.
Yeah. What's good? What's good, little mama?
Never do that.
Okay.
That's for me.
Yeah. She said that can get you fired.
Well, that right there. The
His
acting
face?
straight thing.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Oh, I don't know. I'll just be myself. How about that?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we're going for.
Perfect.
This week, I'm going to give you a compliment.
Yay.
It might never happen again.
That's fine.
So you better enjoy it. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna screenshot the timestamp on this episode when it goes up and like have it framed. The time Joanna gave me a compliment.
No, you know those little camera thing, like not cameras, but like digital photo albums. You just have that on a loop.
And it's just you giving me this compliment.
Yeah.
I love it.
But I just want to say, I'm proud of you for your video this week.
Thank you. For which one?
The fall one.
The fall one.
It's fall, y'all.
It's fall, y'all.
Because not only was it short,
Right.
it was given to me on time,
Yeah.
and it was kind of funny. I'm just kidding.
It was kind of funny. Usually
was
they're
funny.
not. I was actually really stressed out about that video because I was like,
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to get it to her in time. I was a little bit scared. Yeah, that's actually really about it. But I was just a little bit scared. That's about it. So yeah, this episode's running a little bit long now at this point, but
It's
that's
all
okay.
Gucci.
It's fine. We don't care. All right. Well, this has been Nothing Fancy. And... I hate us.
We need to get like a soundboard or something.
I have one technically. I just need to figure out how to
Oh my god.
hook everything up.
Do you know how much more fun this would be?
Dude, our
People would actually hate us.
people would literally. Oh my god. Okay, I have to actually tell you a podcast idea I have, but I'm gonna do that off the air so that way nobody's
Yes.
ever expecting it.
Because we don't want anyone to steal them.
We don't
You
want
know,
people to steal
any
them.
of the 8 people who listen to
The 8 people who listen to us. So share it with your friends so we can get more
Please
listeners.
share it.
Please.
God.
Oh, I'm like not even in frame. That's fine.
I don't think I
think I might have.
either.
Yeah, it's fine. Well.
Okay.
Oh well. All right.
We're learning.
Well,
I'm
we
growing.
love y'all. We will
We
see you
love
next
you.
week. Or you'll hear us. We won't see you, but you'll
Unless
hear
you
us.
follow us
on
at
the-
Jaden Rosendo and Joanna at J. Calderon
Yeah.
on
Those
every
are
platform.
On every platform. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Nothing
Fancy
fancy
Podcast.
podcast. He was late.
I was a little, I almost said youtube.com/Jaden Rosendo, which is why I struggled. And what's the other thing? Oh, and we also have a beautiful link that you can go to which is on our YouTube channel, and you can send us like little voicemail note thingies.
Yeah,
We
if
can,
you have
like,
specific questions or
Yeah.
advice about
like we really
relationships
like
and
we
mental
want to give
health.
advice.
We do, please.
Please let us give you advice.
God.
Did you hear this advice we gave you today? Let us give you advice.
Ask us a question.
And ask us questions. And the other thing is, there's also a link there where you can donate to our podcast as well, because
my
a lot of
God,
time
give
money
us
goes into,
some
well, not money, but a lot of
money.
time goes into this stuff to plan it. So
A lot of money did go into this.
it did this. So
Not mine, but it was a lot of money.
well, yeah. All right, y'all. We will see you next
See y'all
week.
next week.
Love you.
Bye.
Maybe possibly bye. This happens every week. Bye.